Keep it locked. We'll be right back for FuhTrute. Keep it locked. We'll be right back for FuhTrute. Keep it locked. We'll be right back for FuhTrute. Welcome everyone, and again, it's my favorite time of the week, and I'm always looking forward to these nights. You know, the Wednesday nights, hump nights, and here we go again. So, good night to everyone. And thanks again for joining me here on the show tonight. This is the show which brings you to the front and puts you on the front line. This show is geared to showcase talented and interesting people to you, the viewers. And as always, we hope you find it interesting and share us with your friends. That's right. Sharing is caring. If you are joining for the first time, I want to say thank you for tuning in and also give us a thumbs up and let us know who you are. If you are joining on YouTube, give us the thumbs up and also hit the subscribe button, and you will always know every time a video is posted by us and any other updates with the channels. All right. Big shout out to DJ Hawk in Brooklyn and to all the other DJs and entertainers who are keeping everyone entertained online during these tough times. Lots of love and respect to you all. Keep up the good work and continue to provide positive vibes to us all. Um, there's a lot of you out there who are doing some tremendous work, keeping people just sane, because a lot of stuff is happening. Just check the news, look around, you will see crazy stuff happening every day. So uh, thumbs up, big up all the online entertainers to say, for doing your thing, keeping all of us, at a sound mind each and every night. That being said, let's jump right into the thing called Dman Thoughts, and it goes something like this. So, it seems as if this world is always changing for better or worse until death do us part. These are words that are very familiar to many of us and very often taken for granted. In life, adjustments are made and everyone just keep moving along. That is the name of this game. Certainly, life isn't a game. But if the pandemic continues and we are glued to our screens waiting for the next order from a boss or a client, it can very well feel like a game to some younger people. These thoughts are very sporadic. On the funny side, there have been many people waiting for many years to finally have their own office. You know who you are. You're the folks who sit in the cubicles and desks closest to the photocopiers and water coolers, noticing every stride that passes by and how many steps a person make before getting to the end of the aisle. You're the people who volunteer to do coffee runs to the nearest coffee shop and even dog sit the boss's dog in order to make it up that slippery ladder to reach office level. Well, those dreams of having your own office sometimes felt like it would never come to reality, but within 1 year, that has all changed. And look at you now, you even have your own window. My point is, everyone has their own home office now and can rightfully own it. Coffees are much cheaper now, and the bosses, uh, they can dog sit their own dog, right? So, speaking of online, many of you will be happy to hear from our guest tonight, who has been working closely online with many parents across the GTA. Welcome, Mr. Oliver Levy. Levy. Hope I didn't screw it up. I think he's on mute there for a bit. Let me unmute Oliver. There
Oh,
you
sorry.
go. Welcome,
Yeah, there you
Oliver.
go. Yes, you didn't mess it up. It's Levy. You got it. You got it. I'm doing
That's right.
fantastic. Astonished. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, man. It's Wednesday night, so Wednesday nights is when I'm really excited. This is the best night of the week for me, except for Saturdays and Sundays. How
I
you
hear
doing,
that.
brother? You're okay?
Yes, I'm doing well. I got my own window, so I was listening to your thought, and I realized that I got my window, so I'm astonished.
Yes, I'm very happy to hear that. So many of you out there who haven't, we had Oliver on the show a way back, and this was before we actually jumped online and doing the live and doing the YouTube. And but we said, you know what, we have to get Oliver back and so he can showcase and do his thing. Let you guys out there know what he's doing. For many of you who don't know, I'm gonna let Oliver go ahead and explain his business. For you who have done your research, I think I've put some information out there for you. You probably were ahead, but Oliver, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure. First of all, thank you for doing this. You're doing an amazing job in the community. And some of us probably need to hear some of the things that you talk about. And
Thank
thank
you.
you for having me on this platform and this show. So I thank you very much. So once again, my name is Oliver. I'm a parenting consultant. Basically, what I do is I just help shift parents' mind to think more on a futuristic mindset in terms of when they're raising their children to greater success or greater achievements. They can accomplish all that without the frustration. And I want to stress the frustrations because a lot of us parents, I've gone through it too, are frustrated. And when we are frustrated, our kids are frustrated. But we can raise successful kids without the frustration. So that's what I do in a nutshell. And you can ask me many questions. I know you're gonna have lots of questions for me, but that's what I
I
do.
always, I always have lots of questions, but my thing was, what made you think you can be the parent of parents? What was the
Is that
first clue?
is that a question? Is that a question for me?
Yes, that was a question for you.
Okay, what was it again? What's the first clue for what?
What made you think that you can be the parent of parents?
That's a very good question. Um, just my own experience. Plus, when I was studying parenting or the psychological aspect of parenting 9 years ago, obviously I work with my kids first because my kids were young at that time. And first of all, I got three kids. One is 27, one is 12, and one is 9. So I've been working with all of my kids since they're young. And once I get some breakthrough when it's a couple of the techniques and tools that I research based on Alfred Adler's research, I start spreading that love for me. And I like when you said, caring is giving or giving is caring. And I work a lot in the community and interacting with a lot of parents doing work in the community. And when I start, giving my friends and family and even people that I don't know certain tips and tricks and tools, they're coming back to me and say, wow, to a point where I was running my own basketball program for 2 years. And I literally quit that. Most of the parents say, you need to do something else. You need to get into parenting or something about parents because what you're giving us is life changing, and we're seeing the whole difference with our kids. So, having said that, I studied a little bit more into this parenting thing, and man, I'm very fully confident knowing that I'm a parent for all parents. So
Now,
I'm not
now,
sure to answer your question. You can dig in a little bit more.
now tell us a little bit more about the program, and I think is a course that you teaches the parents how they can improve their skills. Tell us a little bit more about that. How long is the course, and how long does it take? What would you need to do to qualify to take the course, and so forth?
I'm glad you said that. I'm going to start out the first thing. What do you need to qualify? Not all parents. Well, let me rephrase that. All parents, I believe, need tools and strategies to guide their children without the frustration. But not all parents are qualified to be in my program. My program is a 6-week program. I usually start off with just a VIP session where I give parents free VIP session, which is considered of 2 sessions. And it's important that I did that because a lot of parents, they want to go straight into start correcting the child's misbehavior. And the reason why I qualify my parents before I even start teaching them how to correct misbehavior and everything else is because parents have to understand that it's all started with them. A lot of parents would say, you know what, it's the child's issue. I'm telling it, I'm doing this, I'm doing. The child is just not, for example, not listening, right? We have to speak. If they're not listening, we have to change our message for them to listen, right? So, 6 week program. Usually start off with free 2 week VIP, so parents get the idea of how this parenting thing works. Because a lot of parents, like I was saying before, they think that because we've been here before and we know everything, we're experienced. I'm just gonna talk down to you, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna ordering, directing, and correcting, and not understanding that that's the opposite effect it's having on the child. So that's that. I think one of your questions was, what do you need to get started? It's just the mindset. So how I qualify parents is the mindset. I ask them, basically a couple of questions, because a lot of parents don't think that parenting is relationship building, and
Right.
parenting is also personal development. If they can't pass those two questions, I rephrase it differently, then they can take the VIP session and kind of get an idea how parenting works. But that's how I qualify parents to be in my program. Because
Oh,
I just want to extend on that. The reason why I do that, because for me, the money is secondary or maybe third on the list. For me, it's the transformation I want to give to parents. I want to change parents' lives. My mission is to impact over 10 million parents. So I got to focus on that. So I got to make sure the parents who really want to do the work, they're the one that I'm showing up for. Right. So that's the reason why I qualify parents.
now, I guess for your courses and the parents out there who are it's a pandemic going on right now. There's a lot of people who are not working. A lot of people who either working at home, or they maybe perhaps have gotten laid off from a job, and finding it very difficult to cope with a young kid, and plus provide either mortgage or rent. Um, it could drive them a little bit, crazy, right?
Of course.
Now, when they come to you, um, what kind of words do you give them to kind of let them know to that things will be okay pretty soon?
Well, it's interesting you said that because this pandemic is a blessing to parents and they don't know it yet. Let me say that. The
I
pandemic is
gotta
a
say, you're
blessing.
right. You're right in some ways there.
Yes, but they don't realize it yet. Number one, and this is the very first thing that I teach, that spend time with your kids. So we're busy parents. Before COVID, right? We're busy, if they're into sports or into, different activities outside of school, they come home from school, first of all, we drop them off, rush in the morning, drop them off to school or school bus and gone to work, come back in, do all of that stuff, weekends, games or piano lesson or whatever it is. We are so busy. We get caught up into all the busyness and not really taking 5 steps back to be there in the moment, mind, body, and soul with our kids. Now, when this pandemic happened, I was like, I know this is gonna sound a little bit bad, but I was like, yes. Because for me, the first thing, not that the pandemic, I didn't say yes about the pandemic, but the
I
first
hope
thing,
not. I'm glad you cleared that up, because there's some
not
very
about the
keen
pandemic,
and
sorry, not about
curious
the
people
pandemic.
out there.
Yeah, but I really, because I took like, I kind of gather with a few parenting experts and we say, oh, can we really send a message to parents? And I'm like saying yes in myself, where I'm like, yes, finally, parents can take 5 steps back and really be in that moment with their kids. because that's one thing that's missing in the relationship with parents and kids. The time they spend. I can ask many parents, what's your child's favorite color? If a 5-year-old favorite color is going to change when they reach 6 or 7, right? I'm being honest, right? So little things like that, they're missing. So the reason why I really focus on that demand is because the philosophy is you have to be able to connect before you can correct. So connect with the child before you start correcting the child. Build that emotional connection relationship with the child before you can even start ordering, directing, and correcting and expect them to cope. That's why kids are not coping. That's why we have power struggles and all that stuff, especially now they're quote unquote stuck at home.
But now you know, for a lot of parents out there, they're probably saying, "Well, that's easy for you to say," but what words of encouragement? I mean, once they start taking the course, they're gonna get to understand what you're saying, and you're gonna break it down, obviously, and eventually, they're gonna figure out some of the skills that you will be providing. What changes have you seen with some difficult ones, like some cases that were very difficult? How was that met and and received?
Most of the cases are difficult, to be honest with you, because first of all, parenting could be very personal, right? How dare
Yes.
you tell me how to raise my child kind of mentality?
I had that same attitude many moons ago too. But after some time, you got to take a step back and kind of listen a little bit. So.
And what really helped me is society, or society is moving. Society is moving so fast where can you imagine you don't have a phone in these age, right?
Mhm.
Just society is going to force you to get a phone, right? So society forced parents to start thinking a little bit differently now. Oh my gosh, I can't yell that much. Well, if I do yell, I can't really hit. If I do hit, I can't really hit all the time. Whatever it is, you're having that little change just because of all society is moving so fast. So that's a little bit easier for me when I'm talking to parents. Now, um, just by interacting here, it's not enough when I'm talking to parents. So in a normal conversation, and parents will ask me, so what would you say and stuff like that. It's very challenging for me because I like to break things down to shift their mind because parents are we're raised differently, right? Parents, the way we're raised totally differently. So you have years and years of just doing things a certain way. I'm asking you now to start changing all that. So I have to take a different approach now when I'm talking to parents, how to kind of shift that mindset so they can really get on board in what I'm teaching, get on board into the message, get on board into the modern tools. So for me, this is the exact reason why I do the free VIP pass. So this is free. They get a two session with me free, and within the first session, within 4 days, their whole mind is shift. Just that first session alone, their minds totally shift. And then it's a no-brainer after that. It's a really no-brainer. Even the most there's so many different parents came to my program when they first started, like, no, this is not, I don't agree. This is not for me. And after the first hour, they sat in, they're like, when can I sign up? Like, I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. Here's the reverse part of that. I've gone through changing myself, obviously, 9 years ago. That's why I'm doing this. I never thought in a million years I'll be doing parenting or parent coach or parent consultant or doing any of this. A lot of my friends, years, 15, 20 years ago, your friends, they look at me on Facebook and I'm like, how the hell did you get into this? And The shift that I'm telling you, I'm describing, I've gone through that shift because there's no way you're gonna tell me how to raise my child. I grew up in like hardcore physical slap or yell or grab or whatever it is because I thought that's the way you learn. That's the way I
and that,
learned.
that's frowned upon now, you know.
Right? Exactly. That's frowned upon now. Right? So I had to go through that shift. And what shifted me is the same thing I'm using, the same process I'm using to shift parents' minds so they can start using these strategies.
Nice, very good. Now, what do you say to those parents who, when they come to you and they tell you pretty much, it's not me who needs to change, it's these kids. What do you say to those parents? Because parents are the older ones, so they gotta be the grown-ups. They gotta be the more mature ones. So what do you say to them who are trying to convince you it's not them? It's the kids. How do I get these kids to listen to me?
First of all,
Good night,
I'm
Rod.
going to be honest with you. The moment I hear that, for me, I'm thinking, okay, this not my client. However, if you engage in a conversation with me, you're not there to shift my mind. No, I want to be able to shift your mind. So first thing I say to them is, when your child comes from the hospital, right, and you have them first thing in your hand, like this small, probably this small. uh, that child is looking at you for everything. That child is almost like a empty computer.
That's right. That's right.
Well, like well stacked. What is it? 64 gig, whatever it is. Well stacked. It's very empty though. The 64 gigs is empty. Now, how you look on that child, the facial expression you make, the way you speak, the way you sound, the tone on your voice, anything you do. The moment they grab your glasses, what's your reaction? How do you speak to that child? When you're changing that child, how are you? They get everything from you. So if you tell me that it's not you, it's the child, then what are you saying? How did that child get to be? What are you talking about? Back talking? They're not doing their homework. Obviously, there's something, I kind
That's
of get
right.
down details with them. Obviously, there's something that you're not aware of. That's why I call it the mindful parenting. There's some things that you're not mindful of that you're doing or not doing. And if they go in details, and I'll just, share a few examples with them. So I kind of get them to shift the mindset in that sense.
Very good. I mean, it all starts with the parents. They're the head of the household, pretty much. It's not the kids. So it all begins with the parents. Here's one thing I wanted to ask you about this as well. How difficult is it to reset the average parent? Is it really difficult to reset that average person? Because there's some people who have a little advanced training with the newer way of thinking. Uh, for example, younger parents may come in with a different mindset from an older parent.
Yes.
So, how difficult is it to reset that person?
That's a tough question. The younger, it's a little bit easier. The older ones, it's more difficult. But
Mm.
just through my process, it's not hard at all. The most difficult ones, um, the most the one thing it's really tough is for them. So there's a two parts to that question. It's not
Mhm.
that difficult for them to really shift their mind and understand what's happening. It's more challenging to get them to look in the mirror and do the work.
I've had to do that
Because
myself.
pardon?
I've had to do that myself,
Yeah,
so I had to look in that mirror. So,
that's the most difficult part is to realize that um the child's behavior is coming from us. That's the most difficult part. It's very, very easy to kind of shift the parents' mindset, no matter what or what stages of level or difficulties they're at. Now it's to get them now to actually do the work. There's a lot of difficult parents who, come through my program and they're still having issues. Why? Because they're not actually doing the work. They're not taking actions. And, you know, only those who see results take actions, right? If you want to see results, you got to take actions. So that's the most difficult part to get parents to do, is actually to take action, but they do have the tool.
Now let's go back and um, let's find out a little bit more about Oliver, and let the viewers know which area you are. I know right now everything's online, so it's not difficult to reach you. When we want to hit you up at your website, that's easy enough. Nobody's going to nobody's office in these times right now. I mean, we still got about 6 to 8 more months before we start feeling really secure, before we start doing stuff like that. So let them know exactly where you are, in the GTA, and how close you are to them, or how far you are.
I'm very close. I'm right here. I'm in Vaughan, and you can find me in pretty much all social media: Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, IG, YouTube. Mindful Parenting Toolkit.
And Vaughan is closer to Toronto, Ontario, Canada, because I mean there's people out there who are in the U.S., the people in Jamaica, Barbados, the Caribbean. There's people who are watching from different areas. Even though that you are far away, you may still be able to help them somehow to shift their way of thinking and then shift their way of parenting, because these kids are very challenging, especially in these times. It's not like the good old days when, when the lights go off, all the kids disappear and go to bed. It's a little bit different now. So I'm pretty sure there's parents out there who are finding it very difficult to manage the kids, because I don't want to say handle, but kind of manage them, right?
Yeah, and it's a tough time. Uncertain times, tough times. Parents don't know what to do. They might take advice from friends and family and go on Google, or wherever they go. It's a really tough times, and this is the reason why. And I talked to my family, my wife, and I said I'm gonna a little bit strategic in these times, because this VIP pass is not going to be for a long time, right? The VIP pass, I really set it up for parents who are really having a tough times, and they should have to worry about money
Right.
to kind of get, an idea of how to, deal with their kids. And to be honest with you, the first two sessions, that alone should give you at least 30 to 40% um, at ease, a little bit more harmony at home, and now you really fully understand how to deal with the kids on a basic level. Fewer frustration for sure, right? So this is the reason why I kind of offer that VIP pass, and like Dman said, you can hit me up. I'm in Canada, in Vaughan, but I'm 100% online. Everything is online, and so this is the reason why I just make my service available, because it's very tough, man, and so it's uncertain times.
I think you're doing an awesome job. I think that this is a really great tool for the parents out there. I think it's in these times. I think we all should at least be open to listening. I mean, there's a lot of things that haven't been helping some people in the communities. Um, I mean, some strategies has notoriously help others, and some strategies have not worked. And I think with all the news and all the events that happened throughout last year, I think is a time for parents to maybe look at your toolkit a little bit more and make that change, make that shift, because traditionally we can continue to do the same things over and over and over, and we tend to see the same things over and over and over and over. So maybe perhaps if we give this man Oliver Levy toolkit some look, and see where it goes from there. I'm really encouraging everyone to really get hold of it and see what it offers and how it helps them. I know you mentioned basketball. Tell us a little bit about basketball. I know you said you coach, but did you play? And who's your favorite team?
Well, I want to clarify something before I get into that. For those parents, and I get this a lot, for those parents who are saying, what about my family? We're unique. How do you know that the tools you're teaching is going to work for my family? My kids is totally different, and which is a fact. And every household, every parents have a different parenting style, and every child is different. But here's three things that covers all kids. Number one, they're growing. Number two, they have thoughts. And number three, they have emotions. And why is that so important? Every single tools that I teach geared towards those three things. It's all a science behind it. And once you and here's the other side to that, Dman. Some parents, the tools they use right now, that whether they get from the parents or whatever it is or instinct, it's usually go against those three things. That's why they're frustrated. When you use tools to deal with those three things, it's automatic harmony. So I just want to clear that up for those parents who are thinking, those tools, I'm a little bit different. My kid's different. Those tools may not work. So that's that. I just want to clear that up.
That's fine. I mean, continue because I think it's needed. I think you need to always emphasize on those things. And let that message be clear. I want you to be precise and let people know exactly what's happening here. I mean, this is a serious time, and if you have something that can help these parents out there, including all of us, all of our people around us, please have some thought into it and look into it. I mean, I'll be very honest with you. There's a lot of things that haven't worked for some communities, and maybe it's a time to shift. Maybe it's a time to look at things a little bit differently. I mean, I personally, I think that most parents have already shifted some things. For
Yeah.
example, like there's a thing called licks, right? You would get licks.
Yep.
My daughter and my niece, they were talking, and we were saying, we're telling them about licks. They got all excited and they wanted licks because they don't know what licks are. They don't know what licks is. So, so there's a lot of parents that don't actually do that anymore. So maybe you can expand on that.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, because here's the thing: if you're using a tool, whatever tool is, because we use yelling as a tool, licks as a tool. I call these tools, all these strategies to get the kids. And if you're using a tool and know you're not using it anymore, you need to replace the tool. Now, a lot of times, parents are really in the tough spots because what are going to replace the tools with? So that's why they're really, really in tough spots, because the society, because you can't really lick or give kid licks nowadays unless really, really close doors and keep it hush hush. How long can you do that, right? So society now force you to take away that tool, right? So you still only have the yelling, controlling, or roughing up, shaking, whatever we do. So once that tool is taken away, you need to replace that tool, right? So I'm glad you said that. A lot of parents are shifting, they understand the shift, but a lot of parents tell me, at least 85% demand that, yes, I understand. Yes, I know. But what do I do?
And I understand that you used to be a yeller at one
Oh,
point.
yeah, 100%. I used to yell at
You
least
don't you
20
don't
times a day.
you don't actually look like a yeller. I mean, probably in the black community, they'll say your skin maybe look a little yellow, but that's it, right, Oliver?
Oh yeah, no, I grew up in a military home, militant, and I grew up on a farm. So there's always yelling. There's at least 16 people live in my household at any given time, right? So there's always yelling, and I grew up yelling because I thought yelling was the way to go. And
Yeah,
if
me
man,
too. Me too, man. Go ahead.
there's a time when you're talking about sports, there's a moment where this is where everything started to really shift. When my son was 3, and he was really no, it was 3.5, yeah, and he was playing, little tyke soccer, right?
That's really precise, I have to say.
Oh
Not
yeah,
3 years
because
old, but 3.5.
yeah, 3.5. I remember keenly because he wasn't 4 yet. I was very precise. I'm one of those parents where people ask you, all of your kids are 17 months, right? 18. I didn't say a year and 2 months or a year and 3 months. I'll go by months. 26 months, right?
Brilliant,
But
brilliant.
but there's a time where I was yelling at my son because I taught him in the backyard, right? There's certain things I was yelling, yelling, yelling. And no word of a lie, he stopped and he put his arm out like this, like this. He just stopped. And for him, very competitive to stop like that in the middle of the game and did this to me. I walked away like this. My wife was laughing, and my wife is like, yes, it's about time. Too much yelling. Why you gotta yell?
Sometimes as a parent, you feel as if, you're not being heard. And for most males too, you want to be heard. You want people to recognize that you're there and to hear exactly what you're saying. I've had to I have to take a few steps backwards myself and just kind of like absorb some of the reasons why the little one would not be doing something or why she's doing something a certain way. So it's for me especially it's a learning curve as well. And it's really different. These are different times, but here, this is where we're at. It's just like the pandemic. We're here. We got to deal with it. So we might as well absorb these things and take in these tools. Tell us a little bit more about the toolkit in terms of do you start a parent when they sign up, or is it say like school where you have between semesters or between a certain period, or is it any time?
Anytime. I used to, before COVID, I used to have set time. Course starts a certain time and a certain time. I used to do the physical location. I was never online. And I realized that was huge issues because, different weather, babysitting situation, parents can't make it a certain time, and so many different things. So now it's anytime. There's a 2-step process to get into the program. Obviously, you have to be qualified, and I send you at least 13 questions you got to answer. That's pre-qualifying questions, and it's not that you get it right or wrong. I just analyze those questions and look for certain things, and then I'll If I need to clarify certain things, I'll hop on a call with you. But if not, then we'll start the process right away. So that's how it starts. It's a 6 weeks program, like I said before. And if you take the VIP, it's included. So the VIP is 2 sessions. And then if you like what you see and you kind of get on the journey with me, then you only take 4 sessions moving forward. So at any time, you can take it. Obviously it build around your schedule. I make it more convenient for parents. It's their schedule, but at the same time, I have a few classes going on. But I have parents from 10 a.m. till 9 p.m. are their availability. Right? I don't do Sundays. I'm trying to cut out Saturdays. It was really tough because I never offer my program on weekends because weekends is my time. But a lot of parents are really digging into me. I say, well, their only time is weekends, so I kind of open up. I kind of open up 1 or 2 sessions on a Saturday, and specific times though on a Saturday, and then Sundays is my time.
You got to make time for yours as well, because if you don't make that time, then I guess you'll be in some big trouble as well, right?
Correct.
So, I'm glad that you mentioned that, and I was wondering, for those parents who probably don't want to do like a live session or something, is there another way for them to do online training, in terms of they're not actually meeting with you, or do they have to actually meet with you and talk with you about some of these tools and some of the strategies and so forth?
That's a good question. Not yet.
Not yet.
That's coming soon.
So that's in the process.
Yes, that's really coming soon, because that's really on demand, where it's really convenient. You could be at 1 o'clock in the morning and go through all the steps and stuff like that. And I'm just fine tune a few things on the back end to make sure, parents go through the right steps.
Right. I agree with you, because, the pandemic has changed a lot of stuff. The pandemic is one thing none of us actually put into our into our future plans. So, I mean, with the changing of the times, I would imagine that would be a great idea, but I still do like the idea of meeting with you, because you can actually verbally say some things, and just kind of share some advice and so forth, because people do read and people do check the boxes. The question is A, B, or C. They go with C, but there's no real. I would think there's no graded effort in this class. Is coming out of the class with a better mindset than when you went into the class, right?
Correct. And I'm glad you brought that up too, because the way it's going to work is they're not only going to be, watching these videos and going through, checking off the boxes and stuff, but they'll be seeing me once a week. So if they're in the program, and I can see where they are in the program, because once they finish a certain module, for example, and they click done, I get a notification. So I'll invite them after that 1 week, after they kind of go through the whole one module, and absorb all this information. Now, on a group session, not one-on-one, on a group session, if 5 people complete this
you do
module,
group sessions.
I'm sorry.
And you do group sessions, right?
Yes, yeah, of course.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, individual group sessions. So once they finish that module, then they'll hop on a call with me. So you're talking about the face-to-face, right? Because to be honest with you, even this switching to online was really tough for me, because I'm like, how can I really get deeper and dig into parents and kind of get them the whole feel of what the parenting is all about, right? Because I used to do a lot of live case studies in person with parents. So a lot of parents even get emotional, even crying in the class, in the group, right? And obviously it's a safe space, because they start understanding now how kids feel when they talk to them a certain way based on certain case studies that I've done. So it was very tough for me to really switch this online because I can't really get into it anymore. So that in-person connection, they're gonna get with me once a week
Well,
in the whole 6-week program.
I'm really happy that you have started this. I'm really glad you're doing it because, I mean, if anyone has noticed, the mental state of younger people is kind of challenging in these times. There's a lot of the kids who are either taking their own lives. I'm sorry to say that, but there's kids who are finding it very difficult to cope, not only in the pandemic but before the pandemic started. So it's tools like this that actually can help parents a little bit um, more and help them with the strategies, because I call it strategies how you deal with kids in these times. Not only in these times, but if you check it right now, uh, I don't know about you, but for me, I didn't have half the things that the kids in these times got now, right? They're gonna look at us and they're gonna hold their head down and they're gonna laugh and so forth. But you know, these kids are quite privileged to have a lot of these things that they have. You know, they came in an era where was really ripe for them. You know, for a lot of people like myself who didn't have a television, who didn't have a telephone, who didn't have a computer. Some people didn't have light, and I mean it been a lot of years since then, and now here we are with
Is it?
the world
But
is right in the palm of your hand, right?
yeah, but is it really right for them though? Right? Because um, it's kind of tricky. It's right timing, but at the same time, it's not the right timing for us as parents because now we created a privileged world.
That's right.
Now
That's right.
every 10-year-old now, not probably not every, but probably 99% of every 10-year-old now have an iPhone, right? Little as 10.
A phone, some phone.
A phone, right? A
Yeah.
phone. Right? Even though they might get access to their parents' old phone, they still have access to some device, PlayStation or some device at 9 or 10 years old. That is privileged. And I'm glad you mentioned even um, you know, mental health, sometimes suicide, because I'm gonna be very straight up right now. I can't wait to see 2023 stats when it comes to children because 2018 stats was very alarming when it comes to anxiety, depression, suicide rate, all of these things, even bullying. All of these things was skyrocketing. Why? Um, when I dig deeper into it, I was like, wow. A lot of it has to do with how we are raising our kids and things that we're not mindful of, right? These are little things. Nothing, I don't want parents to start beating up on themselves because I don't teach
And
that
they,
at
they
all.
and they're gonna start challenging you because they're gonna, what's wrong with the way how I raise my kids? They're gonna start
Exactly.
challenging you on that.
I love the challenge because that helped me to grow and that helped me to really think in my response now or articulate how I'm going to approach that. So I love the challenge because I get challenged all the time, especially when I was doing in person talks and different lunch and learn and stuff like that. But with that being said, the new stats coming out is going to be very, very alarming because you have to remember when we are frustrated, guess who's frustrated?
Yeah,
Can you
the
imagine a
kids
six
frustrated
year
too.
old being
Yeah.
frustrated until they reach 18? They've been stressed, frustrated all the way from 6 to 18, and there's different levels of frustration. And parents, to a child, and I demonstrate this, I call it monsters. To a child, depends on how you show up, they look on us as monsters. This is the reason why.
Big bad
Yeah,
monster.
exactly. This is the reason why it's from 2 till probably, well, depends on the child, because if it's my daughter, up until 7. But from 2 till about 8, 9, they're gonna listen to you and they're gonna do everything because they're scared. They depend on you for everything, so they're scared. Some ones who are very resilient, people call them stubborn, but I call them resilient, they'll challenge you.
Mm-hmm.
They will challenge you. And that's going to force you to start think. So I just want parents to kind of understand that, because, we have to look at the bigger picture, man. Because when we start getting frustrated, they are frustrated. What environment are we creating for them?
Very frustrating one.
Right. And here's the thing that our parents always miss. They think that the child will get it later on because we got it. This is the misconception. This is the first thing I quote in every time I go on stage. I quote this. We are raising kids in a world that we know and understand but no longer exist. And I kind of pause and leave people to think about that. And they have to raise their hands. What's one thing that comes to your mind when you heard that? We're raising kids in a world that we know and understand but no longer exist. So the world you just kind of talk about how we were raised and things like that, and kids have it easy. This is the reason why everything changed. Every single thing changed on the face of the sun, except parenting.
That's right.
We try to do the same thing how our parents try to do with us. We try to do the same, and obviously it's by default. I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong. You're just not aware of the certain things that you're showing up with. You're not aware that you're becoming a monster.
You're not aware that you're becoming your mother or your father.
Correct.
And if you remember, you probably be saying you don't like the way how your mom or your father deal with you, right? So that's the scariest part about it, because you find yourself saying the same things that they said to you. It's a repeat process. And I think culturally, a lot of people do the same things. You know what I'm saying? And traditionally, people do the same things. So I'm going to challenge the people to actually to click on Oliver's website and see what he's all about and see what he has to say. It's interesting. You said 2018. The stats out there of the kids that were either committing suicide and stuff like that.
Yeah, anxiety, suicide, all these things. Yeah.
Me personally, I know 3 people who took their own lives during that 2017, 2018 time. So these are close friends of mine, the kids, and one person that I knew personally. But I wonder, like, what is happening out there that is causing this? Like, we talk about privilege. We talk about kids having almost everything in the palm of their hands. So what is going on? What's causing it?
I'm glad you said that, because it's not out there. It's in here. It's not what's going on out there. It's what's going on in here. I was doing a one-on-one session with a lady in the States a couple of weeks ago, and she shared the same thing with me, because I talked about school and grades. So I'm going to share with you one aspect of how parents need to shift the mindset. When it comes to grades, especially certain culture, we really, really dig deep into kids when it comes to grades, because we were brought up, and we all know now was the right thinking. You go to school, you get good grades, you get a good job. right? So now that's all shift. Why we're still really digging into kids about grades? Why are we putting so much pressure on grades? And here's the fact: grades or being successful in school does not relate to successful in life. It's not a relate at all. It's not. So when right now, so you go to an interview for your dream job, going to pay you $200,000 a year. They're going to ask you, Dman, what was your grade in grade 7? They're not going to ask you that. No. What can you do for our company right now? You have a firm handshake? Okay. You have manners. You show up 15 minutes before your interview? Okay. You speak well. You seem like you can manage 15 to 20 people. You understand certain things. That's what they need from you.
And
Not
can you get along with the team? Can you buy coffee? That's the really important question right there.
right, right, exactly. So they're not gonna go back to high school to see if you get a good grades or not. So why are we pressuring these kids? And this lady was telling me that the mother so much on this child, the child took his own life. I think it was 14, 15. I'm not sure, right? Because we put so much stress on our kids when it comes to grades. And here's the sign. Here, how I get parents to shift the mindset. This one is a little bit more challenging, but I'm getting parents to shift the mindset. I was once there. I used to tell my son, listen, when he was in kindergarten, no, grade 1, I think, and they used to have to sign off on the homework and sign off on the math tests and stuff like that. And I said, I ain't signing anything unless you get an A or A plus. Right?
That actually is a pretty good strategy.
Oh yeah, I used to do that, right? And he used to love when I signed it because I taught, especially when it comes to math and English, because I really taught him at a young age math and English and all the stuff and spellings. So he used to enjoy me signing it. So that was a lot of pressure, man. And then quickly I shift from that. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's been like probably 4 years now. Probably grade 7. Yeah, probably 4 or 5 years now. I never, ever, ever look on their grades. I don't even look on their report cards.
and that's just fine.
It's not that it's just fine. What I'm about to tell you is that even last week, I think they got a report card last week. I don't know when. And my wife was because my wife is still she's getting there. She's still looking on grades and stuff like that. And she was reading out to me, and I said to her, I'm not sure what you're talking about because I don't focus on that. She goes, I know, but I just want to kind of let you know how well they're doing. I said, just read me what's recommended, because in the comment section of each grade, they always say the child is encouraged to do this or recommend to do that. I just want to focus on that. And the reason why I'm saying that, you see, when you focus on the right things, you get the result you want. So what's the result parents want when they focus on grades? They want the child to get all A's, right? Potentially.
They want all A's and
All
B
A's.
pluses.
Okay. Do they get all A's?
Hell no.
Okay. So what if I tell you that I don't focus on that at all? My wife don't. It's just that when it comes to the report card, she'll look on it. But when she's talking to the child, there's ways we talk to the child about the grades, which I'm going to come to in a second. But my kids are getting, I cringe when I say this, but my kids are getting all A's and B's.
I mean, that's a good thing, and that's what we want them to have, right?
Exactly, because I'm not focusing on the actual A's and B's. I focus on their character buildings. I focus on them. Okay, so here's how you focus your child. I'm going to give, one tip or, one strategy. It's called encouragement, not praise. Parents praise the child, which is praise is very discouraging to a child. You be like, parents will be like, your audience right now will be like, what? Praise is actually very discouraging to a child. What do I mean is, oh my gosh, you get an A? Good job. You're so smart. Oh, you're such a good boy. Here's the problem with that. If you say, for example, math, you give them a high five, you're smart in math, you get A's. What about science? What about 2 grades later? He's not getting A's in math anymore. He's getting B's. Why? He's not smart anymore? Why do you label a child with a letter? So now it's not the parents now. The child now is going to start having lower confidence, self-esteem, little by little by little. By the time they reach 16, you wonder what's going on with them. They have no internal drive. They have no, they don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. They want to play. They want to sleep until that. There's reasons for that. They're very discouraged.
That's
And
interesting.
they reach a sense of inadequacy in their mind. Now, when you encourage a child, so when my son said, "Oh, Dad, I get A," or my daughter like they get A, they push it all in my face. This is me. Oh yeah, I said this is me. I'm like, okay, you know what this result means? You know what this result tells me? This tells me I watch when they used to go to school, right? Because now they're virtual training. When you come home from school, you put everything that you put the stuff in the sink and you just kind of scrape out everything that you don't eat. The first thing you do, you go straight to your homework in your room and you do your homework and you do your math homework before you even go to basketball practice. That's the result of this here. The hard work and dedication you put in. This is the result. I never say A. I didn't say A. I just say result. I don't say you're a good boy or you're smart, because that is giving them that you label them now. They're gonna become a praise junkie now. So now when you praise a child, you're a good boy, you get all A's, this, that. When you praise them, they start now. Watch the magic now, Dman. They start now to seek approval from an outside factor. Started with you as the parent. Now, when they reach their friends, they're seeking approval from someone else. So the praise allow them become praise junkie. The praise allow them to start seeking outside factor for them doing well, for them doing certain things that they start second guess themselves. They have to wait for somebody else. This is the reason why I know when we reach adult stage, now to start a business, we have so much fear. We still start a business, what my parents going to think, what my friend is going to think. Am I going to be successful and all this stuff? So now your limited beliefs, when we praise child, we give them limited beliefs to think that they're all the man. Well, not the man, but you think that they're all smart, they're all athletic, they're all intelligent, and which that shouldn't be the case. Let's focus on what did they do to get that result. If a child help you with the grocery, you don't say, "Oh, you're a good boy." It said, "Thank you so much for helping me with the grocery. Now I have energy to go cook dinner. Thank you very much." Because
that's a really different way of trying to change some of the parents and the way how they think, the way how
that's
they
the
perceive
shift.
things. So I mean, that's really interesting.
That's the
Um,
shift.
now,
And those are
going
proven facts. That's the real shift. That's the effect. That's the long-term effect it's gonna have on the child. I coach basketball. I used to coach soccer too. I still coach basketball now, and I'm still my son play tackle football. So I'm around a lot of parents who are athletic child, and a lot of parents come to me. Oliver, man, I need some help from you. How can you teach these kids grit and toughness and work hard and don't give up? I usually say, stop taking it away from them. We take it away from them. They already have it. We just take it away. Because now, stop paying
that's
them
very
for.
tough. That's very tough for those football parents, especially, because they're very competitive. You know what I'm saying?
Very competitive. And the president of the football club is living in Vaughan, right? And we had a conversation because we're good friends. And he said, these kids in Scarborough, man, they have grit, coach. How can I teach my kids grit and resiliency? And I said, listen, man, you're talking something totally different. You see, these kids in Scarborough from marginalized neighborhood, they have it tough. Sometimes they don't even know where the next meals come from.
I always find that's interesting, because when you go out in the suburbs, I got a buddy who lives down in Burlington, and his kid plays basketball, and he was telling me, the kid can shoot the ball and so forth, but they're a little bit soft on that side of town, right? So I mean, when they meet these kids in these neighborhoods that you know about, and I know about them, they get beat really bad too.
Real bad.
Why that happens? Why that happens? Like you go out
I'm
to the
going to tell you
suburbs, you
why.
get soft.
I'm going to tell you why. So we all know the mind's powerful, right? So those kids in tough neighborhoods, obviously they have different issues, right? We're not going to talk about that. We're just going to talk about the toughness. They go through tough times here. It's all here. They're the same people, right? You take one from the tough neighborhood, one from a privileged neighborhood, they're the same. But here, they're going through tough times. Now, the kids that are soft, everything is given to them. Mm. So he lives in Vaughan here. He's football in the Vaughan. I said, look, and I said to him, look on all your parents on your team. All of them have probably iPhone 10. And these are like U11, U12, iPhone 10. They have Xbox and probably 360. They have all these things at their finger. And their parents bring their stuff for them, remind them of the water bottle, all of that stuff.
Yep.
That's the reason why. When I'm gonna give you an example. This is how I approach my kids, and parents see my kids play. They're just different beasts on the court or on the football field. And there's a time when my son showed up because he plays soccer and football, so he used the same shoes, right? Same cleats.
Yep.
And he forgot to switch it over to the football bag. And it was a big game. And I said, and he forgot his football cleats. And obviously, they want me to go get it. You should see all the parents, Dman. And I said, I'm sorry, that's not my responsibility.
That's right.
Sorry. They're looking at me like, what? The coach is like, no, you got, no, that is not my responsibility. Him missing a game, I don't care if it's a championship game, it's not going to put a dent in his success when he reached 21.
It's a very important factor, person. Man. It's very important. That what you're doing is very important. If these kids, they got the parents in the palm of their hands. Get me this, get me that. That's mine. You listen to the words that are coming out of these kids' mouth. Just listen carefully, and you'll pick up on a few things and the direction they're headed.
Oh, for sure. How many times my kids leave the water bottle at the court? Lots. Because I'm not going to remind them about their water bottle. Leave their shoes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. And is it tough? Of course it's tough. It's the toughest thing for me as a dad come to watch my son play and he's not playing. It's tough, man. But guess what? Now, I don't have to worry. Everything is organized, packed, everything. They have the puffer, all because they have asthma, all that stuff organized, coming from the gym, everything organized, put together. As young as my daughter is 9. and I don't have to worry. I don't. I just leave the gym, meet them outside, and they're organized. Boom, ready to go. Everything organized, ready to go. But 3, 4 years ago, they didn't see the struggles I had. Right? So you have to go through that struggle. You have to put in the work.
Yeah, I believe so too. I believe in that. Sometimes I'll let the little one forget something, see what is needed. But she has to know that this is your responsibility. You gotta take charge of that. It's your duty to go outside with your mask around your neck or in your pocket, right? It's not for me to keep reminding you about these things that you've been trying to do for over a year, right? And that's just one example. I'm just
Yeah.
saying there's so many things like this that happen, and I'm sorry, but this I don't want to go in that direction, but the generations are always feeling as though it's somebody else's responsibility. It's not theirs.
It's not the generation. It's we allow them to think that way. We allow our kids to think that it's somebody else's responsibility. That's the issue.
But
You
what about those parents? Those parents that they come with this mindset that I never had this when I was growing up, so my kid is gonna have this, my kid is gonna have that, and then when they reach teenage years and there's people banging on the door, oh, your kid is in trouble because oh, did you hear about this kid on the news and so forth, how like that's tough.
exactly.
That's very
That's
tough.
and that's the mindset, and I get it. I totally get it because I was once there where I'm gonna give my kids everything that I didn't have. Right? What does that look like? Right? No, I made that shift. They are getting the things that I never had. What is it though? It's not physical stuff. It's here.
That's right. That's right.
I'm giving them here. You can't take away this from them. So in a normal situation, you put my kids challenge me every day, Dman. I want to make your viewers understand this. My kids challenge me every day. So my kids are not perfect, right? Every single day. The difference is, here's the difference. I'm aware why are they acting a certain way. Every single misbehavior, I know where it's coming from. That's why I teach parents. You have to understand why that child is misbehaving that way. It doesn't matter what it is. There's two reasons why. And number two, and the next thing too is that I have a peace of mind. I am not frustrated. I am not yelling. I am not mad when they misbehave. And they're not frustrated and they're not mad when they misbehave. Consequences hand out to them, and the consequences doesn't come in between myself and them relationship. That's the difference. Because a lot of times, when we are mad, our kids are, misbehaving or whatever it is, we get so mad that if it's close to bedtime, you're not even going to kiss them goodnight.
That's the emotional side that I guess we all have this challenge with as well.
Correct.
I think that's important that you said that. Even though you're mad at the kids and so forth, I think it's very important that if not the kid, at least the other parent senses that and bring us down to that reality that look, you was mad for a minute, but here's a time for you to let that go. Put on your parenting socks and do it all over again. Get that kid to bed, kiss him or her, and say goodnight properly. Let it go. I mean, for me in that situation, I've been blessed that I don't really have those struggles. We don't go to bed mad at each other, at least that I know of.
That's a skill.
But
Oh, it's actually a skill.
that it's very important that these things happen. It's a very
Yeah,
good
because
way to
I
learn.
struggle with that. I struggle with that a lot. And I developed that skill. I had to make that shift. And it doesn't take long at all, right? It took me long because, it's the transformation I've gone through. But when I'm teaching parents, it doesn't take long at all to make that shift. How I teach my program is so key, kind of different from how I learned it, right? Because I was very, very stubborn,
Mm.
because I was very stuck in my own Caribbean way of raising a
That's right.
child,
That's right.
right? So it took me a little bit longer time, and now I really, really understand the strategies and tools. It's a little bit easier for me to help parents make that shift. Like I was saying before, it's just now I'm going through the next challenge now of getting them to take action, because they see result. There's a 3-step level, right? The first step, you're like, yeah, this parenting thing, it's a mind shifter. The next level, they're like, right? That's where it's at.
You mentioned Caribbean, but do you find that Caribbean parents are some of the toughest to try to curb a little bit? Just the way of how they think and approach the kids. How do you? I don't want you to get in trouble with your Caribbean parents, but you mentioned it, so I just wanted to hear from you, because I know for me, example, there's a lot of guys that I'm around who will never change. I hope they change, but they'll never change the way how they do things. They're like, this is my house. I'm the man in here, and this and that. You don't pay no bills, this and that, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. You know.
I like that. Well, first of all, I love those parents, because it's a challenge for me to get them to shift, which I usually do. I usually get those parents to shift. So to answer your question, Caribbean parents are the toughest, man. Toughest. Toughest. One of my first interaction. So I started off in the Caucasian community with my parenting piece, and I started off with the 25 parents that I was coaching their kids, and I mentored them for 2 years. And when they saw the shift, they told me I need to start doing something else in terms of the parenting piece. And a year and a half ago, I made a switch to say, you know what, I'm going to focus on our culture, Caribbean, people of African descent, marginalized people, because we can't really focus on whatever system they got going on, right? We can focus on, and I realized that we need it the most, actually. When I say make a shift, as obviously, I don't turn away all parents as long as they qualify, but I'm more geared towards our culture. And I think when I made that switch, my first presentation was probably 18 parents.
Wow.
They're all Caribbean. And as soon as I walk in the room, and obviously they know it was a parenting session. As soon as I kind of start, I open up the conversation about, what did I say? I said I'm a parenting coach, and we're raising kids in the world that we don't understand will not long exist. We can raise successful kids without getting frustrated. All I heard is like, oh my gosh, here we go again. Who is this person? I heard all these different
How
things.
many kids you have? Have you?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Who's this
yeah.
man? My kids are different. Who are you? Like, who you been like? Wow. And I realized that I was in the right place. And can I tell you, they were lining up at the end of 2 hours to really have more discussion with me. And my wife was looking at. I was actually sick. I was actually really, really sick, and I wasn't going to show up. And my mentor told me, just show up and be honest. And I didn't really feel sick. When I came home, I got worse. I couldn't function for 2 weeks because that old energy I just poured out on those parents. And that was one of my best presentation actually on a workshop, because I got them pretty much 90% to shift the mindset. And a lot of them really wanted to get me on into the school system and get me onto bigger platform, because this is needed.
I think I gotta introduce you to our friend, the school principal, Mr. Walcott, and he might be able to introduce some parents to you as well, uh, because in the communities, and especially where he manages that. Well, he's the principal of that school, so the principal duties. They have challenges. I'm pretty sure, and that'll be awesome if you guys can sit down and have a conversation. Maybe when it gets even virtually, probably just to break the ice. That would be helpful too as well. I think there's a lot of parents out there who needs Oliver's help, and this toolkit can benefit a lot of parents out there. Now,
Oh, that would be great, man.
uh,
That would be
we got
great.
a few more minutes in the show, Oliver. Precisely about 9 more minutes before we end it.
That's it.
Um,
I was just getting started, man.
I didn't hear the first part.
I was saying that's it. I was just getting started.
Oh, well, but I'll give you a couple more minutes. But the main purpose really is we want to get the word out there. We want to get it out there so that not only in Vaughan or not only in Toronto, but across, there will be other people who can know that a person like you, and perhaps even a person that looks like them, is there to do this parenting thing. I know it's big right now, especially with the mental state of a lot of us. That's it's crazy because somebody told me once that during this pandemic and what's happening out there is not it shouldn't affect us. We built stronger than this. But I got news for them. you know, it's not necessarily true. As you said earlier, just look at the stats and you will see what's happening out there. The suicidal rates. You know, a lot of things are happening. I don't want to name them all out because I don't really want to go down that line. But there's a lot of things that are happening, and it's affecting all of us out here, man. I think sessions like this and people like yourself in the communities could really work out and benefit these people out there, man.
Yeah, for sure. Not only that, too. That's one aspect when it comes to the different stats. Look at the stats now of people talking about there's so many different systems, right? Systematic racism, systematic that. There's so many different systems that for certain people or and against other people, and that's something that we can't really. Yes, some of us are fighting against it or making changes, but you can't focus on what you really can't change directly. Now, the reason why I'm saying that, because when it comes to certain people, we get targeted the most, and the system is not for us. However, it's so important that when these kids are going out there, and I get this a lot in our community, what strategies do you have when they're going out there? Where did they come from? They're going out there, they're getting stopped by the cops. They're not getting promotion at their jobs because of whatever things that they believe is racism or whatever and all that stuff.
That's a whole nother level of stuff there, man.
How are they showing up? What energy are they bringing to their environment? That's important. So if you're coming from a home which doesn't have harmony, or parents, and again, it's not about parents, I'm not beating up on the parents, but if you're not mindful of how you are interacting with your child and guiding your child and teaching your child and educating your child and inspiring and encouraging your child, if you're not mindful of that, and prayer and hope is going to go this far. That alone is not going to help when your child is physically out there and struggling other than just being the person they are, just based on the color of the skin, they're struggling. That's going to be a struggle. Now, why don't you make it a little bit easier now with how you're guiding that child when they're showing up? That's the whole idea beyond all this mindful parenting. It's bringing, allow your child to go out there and live their life they want to live, make the impact, and not have to worry about, Dman, quickly, a lot of people, when I'm talking to them about situation, I get promoted and this and that, and I'm friends with GM. Any company that I work for, I'm gonna be friends with the GM and the manager. That's just the way I roll, right? I could be at the
that is interesting you say that, because I think what you're saying may strike people differently, but that's a different mindset, because there's people who would never want to be friends with the boss.
Correct.
Because the way how they look at jobs and the way how they look at their careers and stuff, they see the boss, the president, the GM, they see them as like the enemy. You should not see them as the enemy. You should see them as the person who's going to actually give you your money and make you rise to the top, go up that slippery ladder of success.
And I'm going to be honest with you. So most of those people are not going to make it to the top if they're thinking that way. Do you think I want to know what the GM is? I ask question to them like, what's your routine in the morning like? How do you deal with people like me who, and the manager will come to you and tell them about me? And, how do you deal with all these conflicts? How do you deal with so many different conflicts coming at you? Like, I want to know what they think, how they think. I want to get into their world. That's why I do these things. But my point I'm trying to make is, my mindset and focus and viewpoint is a little bit different. He wasn't like that before. So when I'm talking to people or friends, and I'm like, you never face racism? You never face that? I face more than what you even think. I just don't focus on that.
That's right.
I tell stories, people are like, what? You gone through that? Yes. But I don't focus on that. So you're not going to hear that from me all the time.
I've said this before. I think on the show I had a guest on, and I had this conversation, and I say to people, people may look at persons like me, maybe perhaps even like you, and think and give us names, give us labels. One of the labels that I heard, which I was very surprised. I didn't know about it before, and there was a thing out there where some people would call us. Some people from the Caribbean or some people of color, the coconut, right? I didn't know about this coconut. I'm not even sure if you knew about the coconut.
I don't know what coconut is.
You know what the coconut is?
No.
Well, let me tell you, because I had to find this out. The coconut is on the outside of the coconut is the brown shell, and on the inside there's the white jelly. So they call people like us the coconut, because you're black on the outside and you're white on the inside. I didn't know about this about 20 years ago. I had a big laugh, but
yeah, I totally get it. Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? You want to maneuver through this society, right? You want to be able to have a decent way of living. You want to be able to interact with all different types of people. You got to be able to interact with people.
Yeah.
I don't mean just showing up. You got to be able to interact.
Correct.
Right? You got to be able to talk. You got to be able to have a conversation. I said this some time ago, which was, there was times where people would say things, and it's almost like they didn't think that I felt like I was invisible, because they said things without no consequences of he's there, he can hear you. You know what I'm saying? So those are things that we had to tough out in order to get through that those layers of either prejudices or
Correct. And
racism
I've
or
and I've gone
whatever.
through I've
Um,
gone through it a
yeah,
lot.
just filter it out and keep on moving. You know, it's not going to bother me. I always often tell people, look, unless I'm challenged personally in my family or physically, you know, that's different. But otherwise, the other things don't really mean a lot to me, quite honestly. Just it just
I've,
goes
I've
like,
I've gone through I've gone through it a lot, so I totally get what you're saying. And like you said, we have to be able to raise our kids, or we have to be able to flourish,
that's right.
succeed, make an impact. We all, every parent that I talk to, they all want their kids to live a life of their dreams. So all these mindset, whatever, look on certain people a certain way, call people coconut, boss's pet, there's all kind of stuff, you know, kissing this person, you know what, and this and that, and I've got all these, but I never heard them. I heard them, but I never hear it. I can't hear, right? Boom, boom, that's it. Because then where are those people? They're putting their limiting beliefs or their limiting mindset on you because they can't see themselves there. And I understand it and I get it, right? But this is the reason why. This is the exact reason why I want to really talk about this because our people, we are struggling in society overall. But why we put extra struggle on ourselves? Because there's gonna be always struggle. That's the way it is.
Right.
And then on top of that, there's struggle coming from home. They don't even know who they really are. They don't even know what kind of impact they're going to make when they leave your house to go in the real world. They have no idea if that is. Of course, they're going to struggle. That's the whole point. You want them to, succeed and flourish and live a life of their dreams.
So the bottom line is to click on that link to mindful parenting toolkit.com. Check it out. Drop a line to Oliver and let him either change your mindset or let him help you, or at least get a course where at least you can get an insight of some shifting. That'll be awesome. It'll actually help your kids and your kids' surroundings. I think it's an awesome tool. I really like it. I really hope that more parents actually come aboard, and I really want to see it expand. Uh, maybe perhaps we can even have some other teachers or parenting parents out there in different parks. That would be awesome.
Oh, for sure. That's the next
That's
level.
something that what you're doing and see it just flourish even bigger than what it really is. Uh, is there any last words before we jump off here? Anything you want to put out there? I know. Oh, yeah, you have the event in April, don't you?
Actually, we're pushing that a little bit back or
Oh,
forward.
okay.
I don't know why I said back, but yeah, you get what I mean. It's gonna
Yep.
be more into May, end of
Okay.
May. So I guess probably another time on your show talk about that. But yeah, we're trying to do something with I want to do the dad piece, the
Hmm.
dadpreneur,
Hmm.
right? But we try to do parentpreneur, and I really really want to focus on dads and get dads up to speed when it comes to this parenting thing because it's so important. But my last word is go to mindfulparentingtoolkit.com and just click on the free VIP pass, get yourself in so you can learn a little bit more. And other than that, just be mindful, try to be mindful, stay connected, and just be the change you want to see in yourself, in your community, and most importantly, in your kids.
Awesome. Awesome. So, I mean, thank you, brother. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing that information. I really hope that I wish you a lot of success with what you're doing. Already success, but I want to wish you even more success. And I really believe sky is the limit when it comes to this. So again, thank you. Um, And until that time come again, I really want to wish you all the best.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Keep
That that was Oliver Levy, and he is the president and the founder of Mindful Parenting Toolkit.com. It's a really wonderful toolkit for all the parents out there. If you're interested, please go ahead and click on it. Don't be scared. Go to the link. Uh, don't be scared. Go to the link and check it out. Even if you got to check it out first, if you're hesitant or whatever, it's worked for a lot of people. It can work for you. Everyone can change a little bit, even myself. If I can do it, you can do it. So please go ahead and click that link and go ahead and check him out. We didn't get a chance to really talk too much about dads and and, uh, and a lot of hurting dads out there. But dads go through a lot of stuff too. Dads are sometimes the looked upon as the monsters that we describe as well. And there's a lot of dads out there who are really trying hard to either change or keep up with the change. And if you guys out there, go ahead and click on that link as well, and there might be something there for you as well. Um, on that note, I just want to say to all of you out there, thank you guys for tuning in. For those on YouTube, thank you for clicking that link. Don't forget to subscribe and give me a holler or give us a holler. Click the like button, and that would be awesome. We need to know that you guys are out there. And on that note, I just want to say thank you guys. Have a blessed night, and until next week, peace.